So hello there, Internet. Today I'm going to show you a little bit about how to brew with the PicoBrew Zymatic. What we're looking at here is the step filter. Right here is the mash tun, and this holds up to 9 pounds of grain. And these are the adjunct chambers that you can basically step up your different hop additions as you perform a boil. This gap right here is where work can be circulated through a bypass to heat up or for the chilling process. Alright, I'm going to lay out my ingredients now and then be back in a minute. Okay, here we have all of our ingredients laid out. We have about 7 pounds of grain, 6.5 pounds of 2-row, and about 12 ounces of Crystal 60L for color. We have 4 different timed hops additives. I've got 0.2 ounces of Magnum, 0.4 ounces of mystery hops donated by Scott, my local homebrew store owner, and then 0.3 ounces of Cascade, and then a whole ounce of Cascade, and this will be for mostly aroma. This is only added to the boil in the last 5 minutes or so. So how that works is the wort will start the boil on this chamber right here, and then whenever the next additive needs to be put in, if this is a 60-minute boil, for the first 15 or it all depends where we go here. So if this is a 45-minute boil, at the 15-minute mark, the swing arm will move over to this one. It'll fill this chamber. It'll spill over this little weir here before pouring into the exit to the adjunct step filter assembly, and so on as we move up. These lips are progressively higher like a fish ladder. When finally, this one is our 5-minute aroma additive. In the last 5 minutes of the boil, the swing arm will come back over here and fill this chamber, and it'll continue to spill down before exiting the adjunct chamber assembly. Okay, I'm going to load the step filter. Okay, here we are. The step filter is all loaded. Have our grain relatively leveled out in the mash tun, and then we have our hop pellets in our different adjunct chambers. This is the 1 ounce of Cascade, the 0.4 ounces of Cascade, 0.3 ounces of our mystery, our guest hop, and then our 0.25 ounces of Magnum. All of these are dishwasher safe. Cleanup is pretty quick and easy. I'm actually going to be doing a double brew today, which means that I will have a very quick turnaround on my machine. Okay, next we'll load the machine. This is what everything looks like all assembled. we have a top screen on the mash tun, and then there's a plexiglass lid that goes on the whole assembly. Keeps the condensation in to prevent as much fluid loss to steam as we can. This is where the swing arm injects water into the mash tun, and then this is bypass, chamber 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is just a spill hole, a weep hole if you will, because invariably during the mashing process you get a little overflow, and this is designed to purposely warp a little bit up at the sides, and it diverts any overflow back to this beveled hole where it can drip back down. You don't want to lose any of that precious wort. Alright, be back in a second. Okay, here's my brewing alcove. Here's the machine itself. A very simple interface, a single LED screen, and a control knob. That simple. It pushes and turns. And here we are. And then we turn. Then it pulls the recipes out of the Ethernet. In the meantime, this is what the inside looks like. You have that swing arm, which rotates 360 degrees around to hit the holes in the top of the step filter. And then we've got the drain. And the drain interfaces with the step filter via a very small duct valve. So far haven't had any leakage, and let's hope it stays that way. Okay, we're going to be brewing Pico Pale Ale today. Okay, I'm going to load the step filter. Okay, we have installed our basically our water reservoir and what is normally the fermentation vessel. This is hooked up to the out post on the corny keg. This is a foam trap because this process can actually create quite a bit of foam, especially during the cooling. And then this is the return line. As you can see, the supply line to the machine has an inline filter which gets traps some of the proteins. It's a very thin nylon filter, and we actually have a small port that you can use a syringe to draw samples from if you want to check your OG at any time. Alright, we have about 3.57 gallons in this corny keg. This will make 2.5 gallons of wort, approximately. Most of that 1 gallon of loss will be caught up in spent grains. No big deal. There'll be some steam losses as well, but that's what this machine does, is it creates 2.5 gallons of wort pretty much automatically. So the first thing that's going to happen as we start this is it's going to circulate and heat the water. There's 2 pumps in there. It's a closed loop heating loop that uses glycol. Our mash in today is 152 degrees, I believe. So it'll take about 10 minutes to get to that temperature. There you go. Water's been sitting overnight, so it came up to 70 degrees. You can see return water flowing. Now this is another feature too, these rubber keg stoppers. Very important. It's got a hole in the middle of it, which during the mash and boil process you put the foam trap, but for fermentation you stick an airlock in there. Already we're up to 78 degrees. Alright, I'll be back when water is heated and it begins its journey through the work. So it's taking a little bit longer than 10 minutes to heat the water up for mashing. So I thought I would take the opportunity to show you the brew logging interface on the PicoBrew website. The Zymatic is connected to the internet the whole time it's brewing, and it has to be, which unfortunately is one of the weaknesses, I think, of the system. But it allows you to take a look at your water, or your wort, and heat loop temperatures over time. And as you can see, both here are steadily going up in a linear progression, mostly linear. I expect we'll hit 152, maybe 10 more minutes. Right now we're at 105. So I'll give you a view of what a full brew cycle looks like. These are all of my brew sessions to date. Yeah, let's take a look at the Pico Pale last time. Alright. This was the temperature increase. This is the mashing. And this was the temperature increase for the boil. And we've got our adjunct 1, 2, 3, and 4 across the top here. And then here's my cooling phase, which in this case I used a ice bath for the corny keg, which took a fair amount of time. I want to say about 45-50 minutes. Let's see. Took over an hour. So to combat that, I've gone ahead and modified an immersion chiller, and I'm going to be trying it out for the first time today. And what that'll do is run the wort through the immersion chiller itself, which will in turn be immersed in, first cold water and then an ice bath finally. So the heat exchange will be much more efficient, much quicker, Basically, I'm at the whim of the pump speed and circulating the wort through the corny keg and the machine, which, according to the folks at PicoBrew, takes about a 10-minute cycle for the full 2.5 gallons. So we'll see. All right, we'll be back in a minute. Let's see how our Pico Pail is doing right now. Alright, looks like we're up to about 112 degrees. So I'll be back in about 10 minutes as the 152 degree water is beginning to infuse our grains. So here we are about to mash in. I was way off. It's more like 40 minutes. It's pretty close to 40 minutes to reach temperature. Alright, the water temperature has reached 152. The swing arm is rotating, which you really can't see, but you can see water start to flow into the mash tun. And it's going to do that for the next 90 minutes. Will actually allow the mash tun to fill up with water to do a single step infusion mashing. So that's what the single step infusion looks like, 90 minutes. It will continue to keep the wort temperature at 152. It'll take about 3 to 5 minutes to go ahead and fill the grain compartment. And then it will just slowly recirculate it through. So that is essentially the brewing process. Everything after this is on autopilot. It'll go back through a temperature increase stage. When it gets to the boil, it'll raise it to 207 degrees. It's not actually a boil, but it is hot enough to kill anything alive in it, and it does that for 60 minutes. It's very close to a boil, as boiling is about 212 degrees. And that's about it. Alright. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Apologize, there's no fancy editing or graphics or anything like that. But that's it. Have a good day.